Okay, decide to choose a slightly different setup. And yeah, setup is a good example of setup as just a setup of the camera and whatever, and the experiment and whatever, and the setup as a trap. It's a setup. It's blah blah blah. So literally another simple good example for it is what we make it. So in this video I want to be talking about self and images of self and how images of self reflect and so on and so on. And whenever you see hate, whatever it is, it's the hate comment on your YouTube video, it's the whatever hate on the street, and someone just pisses you off, and someone just passes by and seemingly out of nowhere pisses you off, like, he projects his anger on you and whatever. So the way Buddha used to say this is always a reflection of self, always. And eventually all anger about others is anger about self. So however seemingly not connected to you it seems, out of nowhere, I had this yesterday in the morning, you must find the reason, you must find the source, you must find the root, and then you see that it is connected to you. That's why it comes to you. This is logic, right? So you can't just dismiss it and then bam. You can, but then it will keep on reoccurring until you see your connection to it, and it's better you start looking for this connection straight away instead of just waiting till it grows from a seed, because you can kill a seed easily. Just step on it, dead. Take it out of ground, don't feed it, dead. But once it's a tree, it gets very difficult to remove, because by this time it's a habit, and then whatever. I just like the simple example, I say guys all the time, and I know this is guys, gays, goys, and I still keep on saying it. I have to delete it. But then it becomes more difficult to delete it the longer the period of time you've been using it. So hate. The blame game. The blame game has only losers. It has only losers. There is no winner. Because during the blame game, what happens, you literally only focus the problem but not the solution. This is what happens during the blame game. That's where everyone loses everything. In an angry, heated situation, it can have very bad consequences for you and the other one. And that's the simple solution and the simple understanding of these things. A fight against oneself cannot be won. It can only be stopped. That's why top and pot is the same thing. You get to the top by filling up the pot. It's like the crow drinks. Remember this example? Like there's a pot with water, and then the crow is clever enough to throw in stones and therefore, raise the water and then drink from the water. This is how clever the crow is. And this is what we do. It literally represents, the way you shout in, the way it echoes back. The crow could be like completely retarded and cry and fly away and whatnot, but the crow just gets a few stones as tones, throws them in and fills up the pot. And that's how the inside of the pot gets to the top. This is how resurfacing. It will be resurfacing at all times, whether you want it or not, because that's your problem and you must deal with it. If you don't deal with it, it will deal with you. So that's why. Just let's all rise to the top. And as I say, that's also like so nicely. If you see the mirror image, if you look at the top and it's little water and it's like dark and you can't clearly see the image, that's what happens now at this video, right? You can't kind of clearly see my face because it's so dark, or at least I don't see it on my screen or whatever. But once we resurface, we make it high and it goes to the top, then it will have this shiny nice surface. The light shines on it and then we can see ourselves clearly on the very top. Which is another interesting story of my kids book. Two monkeys sitting by the edge of the river, and then they just look, it's a river, but then kind of the river is still, so they can clearly see the image, so it's a little bit fantasy too. And then one monkey says, "What do you think, who looks better?" And the other one says, "Don't see any difference, kind of, they both look same." Then suddenly the father shouts and says, "Look, there's a crocodile coming." They run away, climb up the tree, and then there's a branch, and they hang. The branch hangs over the river, and then from there on they look again at the image. And so they start looking, and then the one monkey says, now I think you're right. They look completely the same. Godlike or godlike, you know. So yeah, thanks as always for your attention, and see you in the next one.